Welcome learners of the MOOC on Introduction to Functional English. We'll be having some discussion on your Module 24. Module 24 is all about English for 21st century business world. Dear learners, you may recall the discussion that we had in Module 16 that was on business correspondence. Based on that kind of discussion, we shall have some more discussion on English for 21st century business world. We are living in the new millennium. This 21st century, the kind of English we all are using in our day-to-day speeches, in our day-to-day conversation, in our day-to-day business language at workplace, right, is different. The kind of English that we used about 4 or 5 decades back at our own respective workplaces and the kind of English that we are using in today's context. We are not aware of the things like say RIP, OMG, right? Oh my God, rest in peace. But nowadays these all have become commonplace. So English for 21st century business world, we need to learn the intricacies, the essentials. So that's why in this module we shall try to discuss those. We all are living in a globalized and information age. We shall have more discussion about information age. Communication requirements have changed a lot. So with these new requirements, we need to be adept at new skills on socializing, on business negotiations. In these competency-based economic enterprises, professional presentation of business ideas, sharing business information with participants across the globe, all these demand considerable efforts in terms of developing our content, in terms of making articulation, in terms of presenting our content. So we need to be familiar with the emerging requirements of the new world order, before we deploy our befitting communication weapons. We need to appreciate the role of written and spoken communications in English. Dear learners, before we discuss the basic content of the module, we need to familiarize ourselves the learning objectives. This has been given in the material which has been supplied to you. So the learning objectives which we are trying to help you achieve by this video presentation are basically about, we need to be clear about the reasons for emergence of the information age, why it has emerged. We need to understand the changing context of world economy, how the world economy is moving, the world of work, the management and the business, the kind of changes which are taking place. We need to identify the forces of globalization and digitization. And in this scenario, we need to understand the role of communication in the competency-based economic enterprises. And to that extent, we need to learn the communication skills for socializing, presentation, as well as negotiation in the 21st century workplaces. So with this set of learning objectives, let us move forward. Dear learners, we are living in the information age. What is this information age? Information age includes everything concerning the electronic storage and transmission of information. This everything includes the internet, the computer, smartphone, social media, e-commerce, and the entire ecosystem which facilitates development of information age. So information age as a movement began in the latter part of the 20th century. In the 1980s, it started emerging. In 1980s, in our country, there was an attempt to computerize the banks, but the bank unions strongly opposed that. In 1990s, it came in a big way with a software like Bank Master, etc. But in 1980s, in order to have wide acceptability of the information age, there was a breakthrough improvement made in railway reservation system. Before that, there was lots of problems. But with the advent of the information age, the government mechanize the processes of railway reservation system, and that helped a lot. So ultimately all these things have led to the development of the, right, towards the end 90s, right, email became widely accepted. So international networks started emerging, and all these things have significantly influenced the way we speak and write today. It has impacted the ways of doing business across organizations, industries, countries. So with the advent of accelerated spread of e-commerce, right, we all have experienced it. The nature of business communication has changed. You place a grievance. In case of e-commerce, suppose you ordered for a product, a different type of product, size of the product, shape of the product is not matching to the requirements, right, after delivery. So what you can do? You can lodge a grievance. And how that grievance will be addressed and how that grievance will be redressed, right, we'll have to make use of business communication. Is that it? If you are addressing the grievance with polite words, courteous words, with a sense of empathy with the customer will take it. Is that it? Otherwise, the customer will not accept your response. So the nature of business communication has changed. We have entered the technology diffusion stage. Now, in case of innovation diffusion, right, as if we are entering the diffusion stage, means it has a large scale acceptability. Almost every individual firm is influenced by information, communication, and technology. So this has changed the entire landscape of functional English and business workplace. Business process outsourcing, BPO, right? That example you can think about. That includes tasks such as call center services, human resource management, accounting, payroll, customer service, marketing, information technology. Right? These are all difficult, complex subjects, and they deal with all these complex subjects, right, across the suppliers as well as with their clients. So they have to make use of English to a great extent. So in this kind of context, English is considered to be the universal language of business. Call center agents or any business professional must be able to speak and write English in a professional manner. And here comes the importance of English communication. Dear learner, before we apply our communication skills, we need to know something about the happenings in the world economy in today's context. COVID-19, we all have, right, seen the disastrous effects. That COVID-19 pandemic created an unprecedented uncertainty in the functioning of economies of countries across the world. But we have started experiencing the recovery. The global economy has recovered and is projected to grow 4.2% in 2022. And in our country, we have experienced a higher rate of growth, with an estimated gross domestic product of more than $3.4 trillion generated by a population of over 130 crores, 1.3 billion. Our country is among the highest population-based economies in the world. And as per the economic survey forecast, our country will tend to grow at 6.5% in 2023-24. So this way, the changes are taking place in the world economy, and it is projected that today's emerging economies like China and India would be the leading economies of the world by 2050. Along with this development in the economic front, there will be a corresponding effect in the world of work also. So in this globalized world, communication spectrum, both oral, written, or could be the non-verbal modes also, has to deal with the multicultural context. So the global workforce has to respond to country-wise requirements of work. So this global workforce, while we discuss the matters with our counterparts, we need to be sensitive to the country-wise requirements. Not only the communication spectrum, we need to be concerned about the legal requirements in the workplace also, because it differs from country to country. So in our country, the labor legislations and in the labor legislations in country like say USA would be different. And because of all these things, we have been experiencing lots of changes in the way we manage our business houses. business houses have started developing public networking and social networking platforms. They are having their presence felt in the social media, Facebook, Twitter, etc. They have been adopting various communication tools, say blogs, microblogs, wikis, forums, instant chat, messaging, file sharing, opinion posts, right, bookmarks, right. At the same time, they are also strongly present in the addressing grievances as well as the redressing grievances through online media. So Facebook-like applications for employees are emerging. Technically, right, social networking platforms are offered by major software vendors including IBM, Cisco, Oracle, SAP, and Microsoft, etc. So these are the calls of the day, right? The way they have been managing their own internal matters with the help of internet, with the help of softwares, right? The business communication have been changing a lot. There have been remarkable changes in the way business is conducted in the information age and the globalized world. The culture of origin, the culture in which the employees work, because lots of transfers are there, lots of mergers, acquisitions are happening, and the cultures of organizations employing workforce from the diverse background, all these have influenced management, business, and communication at workplace. So traditional communication channels are still used for team communication. Say we talk about group meetings. Meetings are as old as human civilization. Meetings will be there. Meetings will have its own, right, principles. But the way we conduct the meetings with the help of the technical gadgets, there have been some changes. These new age generations, Gen X, Gen Y, right, these professionals, they tend to consider social networking tools as the primary tools for team communication in the workplace. So organizations are having workforce with different demographic background. So we need to reconcile the differences, and that's the challenge in business communication, that how can we reconcile the needs of the new generations and the needs of the old generations. The old generations have to catch up with the requirements of the new generations. At the same time, the old generations basically hold the principles, the essence of business communication that needs to be nurtured across the organization. So that striking that balance has been a very important challenge in the business organizations in today's context. So this globalization, digitization, this globalization basically implies increasing integration of inputs, factors of production and final production, and a final market. You may source the raw material from Italy, you may source the technical know-how from Japan, you may produce it in India, you may sell it in South Korea. That is globalization. So we are basically trying to integrate the inputs, factors of production and the final market destination across countries with cross-national value delivery and value chain networks. That implies the challenges for communication across cultures, across different people, and that is facilitated by digitization. Digitization implies integration of digital technology into everyday life. Their own personal life, their own organizational life. So this development in the digital devices, innovations in computer networks and digital compression technologies, all these things have made it easier and less expensive to deliver words, music, symbols, images, and anything that can be digitized to anyone around the world. And that is the challenge. Competency-based economic enterprises, right, they have to be aware about these remarkable changes in the business and communication landscape. But the basic competency domains have remained the same. In order to, right, remain competent, one needs to have those basic things. Those have not changed. Say values and ethics, that has not changed. Those are age-old beliefs. The way we conduct ourselves, that has not changed. The way of addressing this, the way of communication might have changed. The basic values and ethics, roles and responsibilities of collaborative practices, that win-win platform, that you gain, I gain, mutually beneficial relationships, mutually beneficial exchange relationships, those have remained the same. Interprofessional communication, one has to be professionally competent, that has not changed. Teamwork and team-based care, that has not changed. Teamwork is also as old as human civilization. These competency-based economic enterprises, these values have not changed. But the way we address these things have changed. So, when we making use of these new age tools, we need to see the essence of those age-old beliefs. Dear learners, we are living in a VUCA environment. Mind the acronym VUCA. V for volatile, U for uncertain, C for complex, A for ambiguous. These are the realities of work life, realities of organizational life. So today's business environment is highly unpredictable, complex. For the emergence of IT and computer convergence with IT, we all have seen many industries and products are no more. Camera industry, tape recorder, VCR, Walkman, is not it? Those are the examples of gone days. But not much before in time. Till 3-4 decades back, we were highly conversant with all these devices. But nowadays, the smartphone, the emergence of computer, the emergence of computing technology, plus the convergence, right? All these things have made the various industries extinct, various products extinct. So these are realities. And the way the changes, in business terminology, there is a concept called product life cycle. The way you introduce a product and then the product will grow, then the product will reach a state of maturity, then it will decline. In today's context, these product life cycles are getting shorter and shorter. That is the reality. So competency-based economic enterprises, from your communication point of view, intelligence and information systems play a decisive role for the enterprises. Earlier also it plays, but today's context, we are sitting in information storehouse. Extracting the reliable, relevant, timely information is the call of the day. So there is an increasing importance of report writing for organizations, and this report writing holds tremendous importance because business expansion is taking place. Economy is growing. Globalization has happened. Information age has happened. Business across countries, right, have been expanding. Globalization of business, so the report written in an increasingly international environment, which could be translated into the major language by digital translator, right? This decade only, we have experienced the power of the artificial intelligence, the power of Google Translator, is not it? The transcription, and these are emerging things. Increased use of data analytics. The 3 decades back, the kind of data analytics that we made out of data, big data handling was a big problem. In today's context, big data handling, not software-wise, is not a problem, but interpretation and analysis has become, right, a challenge. Government requirements to comply with the law, right, pollution control boards, environmental regulations have become quite stringent. GST has emerged, tax compliance, environmental clearances, right, green adoption of green technology. All these are things, new calls of the day. So these are the basically signs of competency as far as an economic enterprise is concerned. In this scenario, the employees have to work at their workplace. And these employees, and more especially after COVID-19, when many of the employees, right, were used to work from home, this socialization has become another challenge. Getting along with others. Each and every individual is different, but we all are not only physical human beings, we are also social beings. We live in a society. So socialization, we need to be adept at. Socialization helps us in the following ways. We can build empathy, we can build rapport, we can accept others' points of view without necessarily agreeing with them. We don't have to agree with them. We may be having different views, and that is better that we have differing views, but that needs to be backed by argument. And we don't have to be aggressive to that extent. It requires articulation. It requires assertion. We need to assert ourselves, but we don't have to agree. Then we need to include people in both business and social conversations. As an employee in today's workplace, I have to make communication socially with my peers, with my seniors, with my juniors. At the same time, I may be also engaged in dealing with customers. They are outside to the organization. but very much an integral part of the functioning of our organization. We need to show interest in others by way of greetings. Whenever you meet somebody, right, by your eye contact or through your facial expressions, you should be able to transmit a feeling that yes, I am happy to meet you. That is important. That is a part of socialization. So, dear friends, some of the indicative examples we can discuss in terms of functional English for socialization. And these are important in small talks that help in socializing. And all these things help in consolidating our role in our society. Say, great to meet you. It should not be that mechanical. You should really feel that it's really great to meet you. If you really feel that you are right, it's great to meet you, automatically that emotion will get transmitted. So suppose a new employee, right, you can say, so it's your first day today, okay. And then the employee might say, yes, I am here for a 2-month placement program. Then the conversation continues. And this should be continued in a positive tone. What do you want to do this summer? Right? Means a curiosity. Then there could be some advice also, and unsolicited advices are also not that important. So we need to understand, we need to socialize, we need to continue the conversation. Someone might say, well, I really don't want to work during summer holiday. I need some advice. Yeah. So you have been sought, right? You are asked for some advices. So should I study a part-time postgraduate program in marketing? So if I am knowledgeable enough, I can give the guidance. And if I can give the guidance in a meaningful manner, what will happen? My credibility will get improved. Whatsoever I say, that will be valued. That many times we forget to give thank you. Say thank you for calling. Small things, small gesture. How can I help you? Many times we just dissuade ourselves from doing this. But this helps a lot. How can I help you? That implies our sociability. Use of slangs and abbreviations in written and oral communications are also widely prevalent. That's our accepted norms. But beyond one thing, it's not acceptable. So their importance in the context of small talk socialization cannot be ruled out. That establishes some credence, some meaning, makes it easy. Use of words and abbreviations such as gonna, gota, wanna, baby, dude, oh cheat, oh my goodness, right? RIP, OMG, these have become quite commonplace in today's context, more especially with the youngsters. And not only the youngsters, if you see the Facebook of the conversations, you see the aged people are also making use of this kind of communication. So these are becoming norms. Along with socialization, another aspect is about presentations. Dear friends, you all are quite aware of the importance of presentations. But many times we forget the basic essence of presentations. Presentations require planning. So right now a presentation is going on. This is the final product of a series of plans. The course was designed, the course was structured, the modules were developed, the resource persons were identified, they developed the content. Based on that content, the presentations are being made, like a series, efforts. So planning, what to say, why to say, where to say, how to say, all these things. Planning is the most important part. Detailed planning. Who will say, what will be said, how that will be said, when that will be said, at what sequence that will be presented. These are all important. Then organizing. Which one to say first? What should be the sequence? What data to be presented and how that data would be presented, how that data would be explained, where to give a pause, where to stop delivering. Tell what you are going to tell, that is the introduction. Tell it. And then summarize what you have told. So this is a basic thing. Tell what you are going to tell it. And then summarize what you have told. Basic essence still holds good. So many business reports essentially contain the following sections. That is the presentation also. We need to, instead of start abruptly going for the main findings, we need to give an introduction. Is that it? What is the purpose and rationale of this report? What is the purpose and rationale of this presentation? Methodology. what were the methods or what was the sole method of data collection, processing, findings, discussion, what are the findings, what could be their interpretations, then what major conclusions we can draw, what are the major findings, summary interpretation of the results, then we can provide some recommendations also, what suggestions can be made. These are all important aspects of presentations. Introduction has to be there, the main body, methodology, summary of findings, conclusions, recommendations. If any of these things are missing, means what? The presentation is not there. So while making presentations, some other skills become important. Say oral presentation to arouse the interest of the audience in terms of command over words, pitch of voice, intonation, body language, eye contact, speaking in a natural spoken style. These are important when we are making oral communication. The audience is there in front of you. Audience might be having some questions. You need to preempt the questions. You need to be capable of handling those questions. Otherwise, you will not be credible enough. Use appropriate stress on some words, intonation, the pitch of voice, flow of data in tables, figures, charts, visual aids, projectors may be required. Right? You can use the marker. Right? That we can make use of hyperlinks, notes, prompts, right? You can make use of all these things to make your presentation attractive. Then, dear friends, in today's business situations, today's globalized world, negotiations has become very important. Within the organization, across the organizations, inter-organization, inter-organizations. What is negotiation? A negotiation is basically an arrangement in discussion, conversation to produce a settlement or agreement on matters of mutual interest. This is also a form of social interaction. It involves process where two or more parties try to resolve perceived incompatible goals. The union and management, they might be having incompatible goals. So they reconcile, they negotiate. So that is basically negotiation. Dear friends, in your reading material, I have given an example of two friends, Ramesh and Amitav. This is an example, this is a very simple example which has a solution. But in business situations, we will think about, we will come across many situations in which this type of simple solution is not possible. So to that extent, we need to develop certain skills. That skills of active listening. Active listening, not hearing, listening between the words, finding out the meanings. Paraphrase. Okay, you have told like this, no? Or you can give a long thing, you can articulate, then you can ask, or you can paraphrase yourself that this is what I try to mean it, right? Or the other person might say, if you understand you correctly, you want us to assure that we can manage the large orders. Have I captured the point? Inquire. Ask for more information by asking questions. Show your interest. Acknowledge time to time. Yes, I acknowledge. I have understood. It sounds as if you are making, right? You are, or could be that it sounds as if you are quite unhappy about a number of points. So let us discuss it further. Body language, non-verbal messages, is that it? Time management, prolonging a conversation dilutes the main issue. Timely beginning, timely closing. Creative and positive thinking, never lose sight of this. Address the problems, right? You are negotiating. You are negotiating on a particular problem. You are not negotiating with a person's concerned. So always alert yourself that you are addressing problem, not personalities. Don't personalize it. And always emphasize like that Ramesh and Amitav, two friends sharing a room. One is feeling right hot, the other one is feeling cold, making use of the fan regulator. Like that example. Always emphasize a win-win solution and maintain personal integrity. So dear friends, in this module we have discussed various aspects. We have discussed at length about the changes taking place at our workplace, surroundings due to the emergence of our information age. We have discussed the management practices, workplace requirements which have changed substantially, and this because of the forces of digitization and globalization. In this world, we need to have that competency. A competency-based economic enterprise would be able to leverage the new opportunities. Globalization and digitalization has given us new opportunities. But in order to grab these opportunities, we require a workforce which is skilled in communications, which is skilled in, more specially, communications in English, functional English. They have to be adept at meaningful socialization. That is the power of socialization. Working in isolation will not help much. Will not help rather any way. We need to work in team. And we all should be concerned about the win-win outcomes in our negotiations. So in respect of socialization, presentational and negotiations, presentational skills, we shall have to learn and improve our oral and written English. That communication skill is quite important. And only skilling and reskilling, day-to-day observation, continually learning about the process of communication, introspection, all these things can secure our employment in this changing global economic context. So with this, we would like to conclude this module. Right? Thank you and wish you all the best. Thank you very much.